In 1764, following their victory at the Battle of Buxar, the British East India Company, EIC, solidified its power in the Indian subcontinent. The once mighty Mughal Empire had weakened, controlling only limited territory in North India. Meanwhile, the Maratha Empire stood as a formidable power in the south, larger and more resourceful than the territories controlled by the British at that time. But how did the East India Company eventually manage to defeat the Maratha Empire and gain control over India? Let's explore this in today's video. Background on the Maratha Empire. The Maratha Empire was founded by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj in 1674 and quickly became a powerful force in India. By 1759, at its peak, the Maratha territories stretched from parts of Afghanistan in the north to Tamil Nadu in the south and from Sindh in the west to Odisha in the east. However, the Maratha Empire suffered a significant blow in 1761, after losing the Third Battle of Panipat to Ahmad Shah Durrani, the Afghan ruler. The Marathas lost considerable territory, but under the leadership of Peshwa Madhavrao I, they managed to regain their strength within a decade. Under Madhavrao I's leadership, the Maratha Empire remained a dominant power, so much so that the EIC avoided direct confrontation with them. In 1765, the Treaty of Allahabad was signed, establishing Awadh as a buffer state between EIC-controlled Bengal and the Maratha territories. The British wanted control over the subcontinent, but they were patient, waiting for the right moment to challenge the Marathas. The First Anglo-Maratha War and the Treaty of Salbai in 1772, when Peshwa Madhavrao I died, a power struggle erupted among the Maratha leaders. Raghunath Rao, who desired the position of Peshwa, assassinated his nephew, Narayan Rao, to take control. However, Narayan Rao's posthumous son, Madhav Rao II, was declared the legitimate Peshwa by the influential Maratha Council, which was led by Nana Fadnavis. Raghunath Rao, unwilling to accept his exile, allied himself with the British and signed the Treaty of Surat in 1775. This agreement promised British military support in exchange for territorial concessions. The resulting First Anglo-Maratha War, marked by intense battles like the Battle of Uddaush, saw heavy losses on both sides. Ultimately, neither side gained a decisive victory. The British Governor-General Warren Hastings intervened, cancelling the Treaty of Surat and instead signing the Treaty of Purandar in 1776 with Nana Fadnavis. This new agreement recognized Madhav Rao II as the Peshwa and limited British involvement. Yet, hostilities continued, with the British and Marathas clashing again in the Battle of Wadgaon in 1779, where the Marathas emerged victorious and forced the British to retreat. After years of stalemate, the war concluded in 1782 with the Treaty of Salbai. This treaty largely restored territories to the Marathas, leaving Salsette Island with the British. It brought about 20 years of relative peace between the two powers. The Maratha Confederacy and internal conflicts. The Maratha Empire was structured as a confederacy, consisting of 5 factions led by regional rulers: the Gaikwads of Baroda, the Bonsals of Nagpur, the Holkars of Indore, the Scindias of Gwalior, and the Peshwas of Pune. Though the Peshwa was recognized as the head, each faction operated semi-independently. While Nana Fadnavis was alive, he held the Maratha Confederacy together. However, his death in 1800 led to rising conflicts between the factions, and this disunity caught the attention of the British, who saw an opportunity to expand their control. The Second Anglo-Maratha War in 1802, the Peshwa Bajirao II, who had an adversarial relationship with the Holkars, faced a severe attack from Yashwant Rao Holkar and fled to the British for assistance. Eager to gain influence over Pune, the British quickly obliged. Bajirao II signed the Treaty of Bassein, entering a subsidiary alliance with the British. In exchange for British military support, he ceded control over his foreign policy and granted the British significant territorial concessions. The Treaty of Bassein alienated the other Maratha leaders, notably the Scindias and the Bhonsles, who viewed it as a betrayal. This sparked the Second Anglo-Maratha War, with the Scindias and Bhonsles on one side and the British-aligned Peshwas on the other. In a series of battles, including the Battle of Assaye and the Battle of Argaon, the British defeated the Scindias and Bhonsles, gaining control over key territories in north and central India. The Holkars resisted until 1805 but eventually capitulated as well, marking a significant British victory. The decline of Maratha power and the Third Anglo-Maratha War. By the early 1800s, the Maratha Empire had significantly weakened. Although Baji Rao II attempted to resist the British by rallying support from other factions, the Maratha Confederacy had lost much of its former unity and power. In 1817, with the realization that the British intended to fully dominate India, the Marathas made a last attempt to drive the British out in what became the Third Anglo-Maratha War. Despite efforts by Baji Rao II and alliances with other factions, the Marathas were no match for the British forces. The war ended with the British abolishing the Peshwaship and deposing Baji Rao II, marking the end of the Maratha Empire. A series of treaties, including the Treaty of Poona in 1817, forced the Maratha factions to surrender vast territories to the British, further consolidating British rule over India. Conclusion: the fall of the Maratha Empire underscores the challenges of internal divisions. Had there been greater unity among the Indian kingdoms, it would have been far more difficult for the EIC to establish dominance over the subcontinent. However, with frequent infighting and factionalism, the British East India Company could exploit these conflicts to its advantage, gaining a foothold that eventually led to British control over most of India. Thank you for watching this episode on the Maratha Empire and the East India Company. Be sure to check out our other videos in the history series for more insights into India's past. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll delve into the story of the Mysore Kingdom and Tipu Sultan's resistance against the British.